Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, we will learn about a Python method called as input. This particular method will allow us to take inputs from a standard input device, that is keyboard. So let's check the method input first, what it says, what's the definition of this input method. So if I check the docstring here, it says it reads a string from standard input. Okay. There is an optional argument here which says prompt is equal to none. Okay. So even if we don't give anything, that's all right. It will ask us to enter something here. So if I just execute it, it will display me a blank box here wherein I have to enter some value. So let's say I'm entering Shankar. And if I hit enter, it will display me whatever I have given as input in that particular blank box. Okay. Now let's say I want to store this particular value or whatever I have read using this input method from the keyboard into some variable. Okay. Let's say I want to store it in a variable called as name. All I have to do is name is equal to input, and if I execute it, it will ask me to enter the value. Enter something, right? Not specifically something, right? We can enter anything here. So if I just say Shankar and execute it, it will, if I check the variable name, it will store the name as Shankar. Okay. So Shankar will be stored as a value in this variable name. And this is of type string, right? Correct. So if I check the type of name, it will be of type string. Now let's say I want to read age. Okay. Let's say I'm saying age is equal to input. I'm executing it. I'll say 32. I'll hit enter. If I check age, value that is stored in age, it will be 32 but in the form of string. Why string? I had entered number, right? But why it got converted into string? Right? Because if you check the definition of input method, it always says it reads a string from the standard input. No matter what you give inside that empty box when you execute input method, that value, whatever you enter in that box, will be read as a string. Okay. As you can see, I just entered 32 without any single quotes, but the output is string. How you can verify that? You can always execute type and see this is of type string. Okay. So this is how you can read input from the keyboard and store it in some variable. Now, before inputting something, before typing something, I want users to know that what they have to enter. How I can do that? Let's say I'm asking them to enter full name. I want them to enter their full name. How I can let users know? Okay. So how I can do that? All I have to do is I have to state within input method, I have to write something which will let users know that what they have to enter in that particular box. So in this case, I want their full name. So what I'll say is, please enter your full name. Okay. Now if I execute it, see, it says please enter your full name. Now I have to do is I have to enter some value here. I'll say Shankar Pense, which is my full name, and I hit enter. Okay. Now if I check the variable full name, it will be Shankar Pense because this is what I entered in that particular input box. Okay. Now if I want to prompt some users to input their age. Okay. So I'll say enter your age, and I am storing that value into variable called as age. Okay. If I execute it, it will ask me to enter your age. Let's say I say 32. If I type in 32 and hit enter, that's it. The value 32 will be stored in the variable age, but in the form of string. Okay. In the form of string, correct? So if you check the type of age variable, it will be string. But I do not want this to be of type string because it's a age, it's a number. I want this to retain the original data type, that is integer. So how I can do that? Age is equal to input. I'll say enter your age. But as you have seen in this part of the code, this will by default convert whatever I enter in that particular box to string, right? So how I can make sure that whatever value I give in that particular box will be stored as a number in this particular variable? How I can do that? So in order to make sure of that, all I have to do is I have to enclose this input within int method. This is called as typecasting. So we are converting string value into integer value. Okay. So now if I execute this and say 32, I hit enter. Now if I check age, it will just print 32. Okay. You can verify the type of age, it will be integer, right? Because I have used casting method. I am asking Python kernel to convert whatever value I give as part of input command, convert that value to integer value, integer type. Okay. So that's why this 32 is converted to integer and then saved into this variable age. Okay. Now let's say you want to create a list. Okay. List 1 is equal to input, enter elements of list. I'll execute it. I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I execute it, it'll say list 1, it will be enclosed within strings, right? This is not a list. But what if I want the actual data type of this particular variable to be list? All I have to do is I have to enclose this in list method. So how do we create a list? We create list like this, right? An empty list will be created either by using this, right? This method list, or by a pair of square bracket, right? Hope you guys remember this. So all I have to do is, in order to convert whatever input that I provide in that input box, to convert it into a list, I have to enclose that in a list method. So now if I say list2 is a variable, okay, I want whatever values I enter in that input box to be converted into list and save in this variable list2. If I execute it, I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and hit enter. Now if I check list2, see, it will have all the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Of course, the type will be string, because by default it reads as a string type. Whatever value you give in that input box, it will be of type string. Okay, so this is how you read a value from standard device keyboard using input method. And you have also seen how to cast to a different data type. Okay, by default it reads as a string, but if you want to convert it into integer, you can use this type of casting method. If you want to read a list of elements, you can use this type of casting. So you will see various applications of this input method once you start programming and start developing the application, which will require interaction with users. Okay, so that's all about this video. So hope you guys learned something new about input method. So if you guys have any questions regarding this, please post it in comment section. I will try to answer it. Happy learning. Bye bye.